Welcome back, and thank you for staying with KTN Prime. Now, as I had earlier mentioned, we want to dive into this conversation on road safety. We all know someone who has been involved in a road accident in one way or the other. And there is a concern amongst Kenyans on this trend of road accidents. We've seen a number happening just this year alone. What needs to be done to ensure that our roads are safety? Well, three gentlemen are joining me for this particular discussion. Immediately to my right, we have Timothy Kelly, Director Mobility Services at AA Kenya. Good evening, and thank you for making time.
Good evening.
And then we have Khatib Mwashetani, who is the chairperson at the National Transport and Safety Authority. Good evening, sir, and welcome to the broadcast.
Good evening, and salam alaikum.
Alaikum salam. And then finally, but not least, we have Albert Karakacha, who is the president at Matatu Owners Association. Good evening, Karibu sana.
Evening.
All right, before we even get to this conversation, as I was mentioning to you earlier, when I was preparing for the conversation, there were a number of statistics in terms of where we are at in terms of those lives that have been lost in road accidents. Where are we at comparing maybe 2024, 2023, and the few months of 2025?
All right, thank you, Ashley. First of all, allow me to thank the President for appointing me to be the chair of NTSA. And secondly, thank you also for hosting us. We know it's an issue which is wanting, and it needs a discussion from all sides. Allow me to read the statistics. From January to March 2025, we recorded a total of 1,139 fatalities. And this was basically a decrease of 2.5 as opposed to 2024, which had a total of 1,168 fatalities. There was a decrease in the serious injuries and slight injuries of 14.6%. And they come in different classes. They come in fatalities, we have serious injuries, and then we have slight injuries. For fatalities in 2024, we had fatalities are the ones who died. In 2024, we had from January to March, we had cases of 1,168. And in 2025, we had 1,139. So that is a decrease by negative 2.5. For serious injuries, in January, March 2024, we had 3,291. And then in January, March 2025, we had 2,810. So also in this case of serious injuries, we have had a decrease of 14.6%. With the slight injuries, in January, March 2024, we had 2,650. And in 2025, we had 2,027. If you look at the statistics, you'll find that there's a decrease of negative 23.5.
Yeah.
So we're having a total of casualties, fatalities of about, in 2024, there were 7,107. And in 2025, as January to March, we had 5,976. So we also had a decrease, on average, a decrease of negative 15.9.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, coming to you, Kelly, I beg your pardon. Yes, we are seeing a decrease in the fatalities and these road accidents, but then at the end of the day, one life lost is one too many. Where are we not getting it right as a country?
I think there are a number of factors if you look at the causes of these accidents.
Yeah.
Over 80% is because of human error, which means if we, and is caused by the driver. If you listen even to the news clip that was running yesterday, it says that the driver lost control of the vehicle and then it rolled and did this. A number of things could have happened. Is the driver's alertness, could have been his judgment in terms of if he was overtaking.
Yeah.
His ability to control the vehicle under abnormal circumstances, like right now it's raining, the road surface is likely to be slippery, or if there are chippings on the road, the driver needs to be trained enough to know what kind of circumstances that he is at, what kind of vehicle that is driving, the weight of that vehicle, how it will behave in a bend, how it will behave under certain speed, and to get to know what is the braking distance for that particular vehicle. Because sometimes you don't appreciate these things, but if a driver is properly trained and aware and is in good condition, a lot of these things can be reduced by almost 80%.
By almost 80%?
Yes.
Okay. And we'll get to that statistics a bit earlier. But coming to you, sir, I mean, earlier this year, you suggested that government should consider establishing training schools for public service vehicle drivers. So to many Kenyans, they're asking, why are public service vehicle drivers not properly trained?
I think we need to ask the government, because they are the ones who license the drivers.
Okay, government is here.
The government is here,
Yeah.
Bwana Chairman,
Yes.
and we want to thank the President, first of all, for appointing Bwana Mheshimiwa to be the chairman of NTSA. We believe he's going to deliver. He's a politician, and we've been yearning for a politician to sit somewhere. We are looking for political goodwill.
Okay.
Because politicians, and we are sorry to say, some of them are the ones who messed up the transport sector. When it comes to doing politics, you get, after politics, they push those boys to the transport, and then there is a mess. So when we come back to the issue of the training of the drivers, we've been recommending to the government that we need a training school whereby we can train our drivers. We pay taxes to the government. We pay what we call training levy through insurance. And we are just saying that if we can use that levy, training levy, it is enough to train our drivers, and we will have good drivers in PSV.
Okay.
Because almost 80%, we are the ones carrying the passengers. In Nairobi, we are doing up to 6 million Kenyans per day. Yes.
Yeah, but someone might ask as well, I mean, we all go to driving schools for a reason. Isn't that adequate training?
Now, if you go to Kenya Railway, they have a training institute where they train the drivers there. If you go to other institutes, they have it. So what we are saying, you must practice. We normally have what you call advanced training in AA. So we need the government to come in and say, can we invest more, so that at the end of the day, we try to help this driver to get a lot of training so that we can try to bring the accident down.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and we'll come back to you, Mheshimiwa, but you know, from what he said, how possible is it? And what are the costs for the driver? Because we also have to look at that. Wouldn't it be too costly for them?
It's not costly.
Okay.
Or maybe, let me say, it's not something that is out of reach. This is what is talked about advanced driving. In other terms, we call it defensive driving. There's a basic driving for learner drivers that we normally do, and that helps you actually to learn how to drive your car. And that presupposes that it's a light car, you don't carry any load, it is, and you're just driving on normal road conditions. When we come to defensive driving, we teach you how to handle that car under abnormal circumstances. We have specialized trainings for people who are carrying hazardous materials like fuel. We have specialized training for emergency vehicles like ambulances and fire engines. We have specialized trainings for school bus drivers. So we are able to customize a training for any category of people now. When you come to public transport, you realize that this is a driver who is carrying, say, 18 people or carrying 33 people or 51 people, or, you know, depending on the size of the vehicle that is carrying. The lives of all these people are at stake, and they are dependent on his training and understanding of how he's going to drive this vehicle.
Yeah.
So I totally support what my brother is talking about here, to say there's need for an additional training beyond the initial training. I think the requirement currently is that once you have a license, it's only after a passage of time that now you can qualify to get a PSV without necessarily going through any additional training.
What's the length of the time duration?
Is it, I think 4 years?
4 years.
Oh,
4 years?
so if I've been driving for 4 years, automatically I can
You can do be PSV.
You can get PSV. It's assumed that you have gained enough experience to do that. But mostly that's an assumption. I think there's need for that training so that people can understand what it is that they're doing on that road. If you're driving a bus, the dynamics change. There's physics involved in there when you're turning, when you are going at a certain speed, and because the braking speed changes and all these things come into play. So that driver needs to understand that he's not handling a small car, he's not handling any other normal vehicle, and on board he's carrying a lot of people. Like when we are training the school bus drivers, one of the things we train them is that your passenger is not a normal passenger, it's a child. They could actually go and sleep under the bus just for fun. They could try to, I remember when I was a kid, I was trying to get my foot run over by a bus, just for the fun of it. I'm lucky I did not succeed. Probably I wouldn't be walking today. Yeah. But you imagine that's your passenger that you're carrying. So you need to have that awareness that this is what I'm doing. At the moment we have that in place, and then we don't just focus on the driver, we also look at the fleet managers. Because some of these drivers are under a lot of pressure. They are being told to do a certain minimum number of trips in a day. So we also have a program for the fleet managers, the guys who are managing now these drivers, so that they are considerate in the manner in which they set the targets for these drivers. I can't tell you to go to Western and come back and go back to Western, so many times, without considering that you're going to get tired and you're going to get fatigued, and that's going to impair your judgment while you're on the road, your ability to control that vehicle and your ability to maneuver in the event of anything happening on that road. So training is very, very critical.
All right, Mheshimiwa, coming to you, I mean, first of all, an issue of political goodwill was raised. Do you think that there is enough political goodwill to ensure that our roads are safety? And even as you answer that, I mean, a lot has been discussed when it comes to training. How possible is it for government to ensure that after every 6 months, we have more training for our drivers?
Well, thank you once again. For political goodwill, basically, for a politician, what means to be a politician is that social communication. How do you present yourself when you're communicating with the people that you're dealing with? So a political goodwill, it means that, at least for now, there is a communication, because in NTSA, as much as we are doing whatever we are doing for the betterment of our roads safety, but there is also the aspect of getting to hear what the operators are saying about our services. So that communication is the one which is basically fetched in from political goodwill. Secondly, from my point of view, when I look at the accidents, as per what my brother said, that 80% of the accidents which occur all over are as a result of human error. And if you look at the human error, you'll find that there is one who is driving while he's drunk. There's another one who is reckless in very high speed. There's another one who is not trained, but he's still driving. There's another one who is fatigued, but he's still driving. So it's a shared responsibility that all the sectors have to come together and make sure that we look for a way on how we can curb that. It is possible and it is achievable. And I like the idea that was brought by the president that we need to have a national training school for school buses. In our programs, because we are also targeting at the border. They contribute heavily in the GDP of our country, at least 5% as of now, with the statistics that I have. So it is a sector that needs to be given priority, because right now most of the border riders do not have driving licenses, because for one to be able to acquire or have a driving license, he has to pay like 13,000. You are paying 13,000 for a driving school, and then you come to NTSA, you pay like a 3,058 for 3 years. So what we are saying, we want to do a collaborative effort whereby NGCDF comes in, TTRs, because TTR is the vocational training, they are in each and every constituency. So what we are saying is that we will negotiate with TTIs so that they can lower the cost of training the borders as much as possible, even if it's to bring it down from 13 to bring it out to 2,000, and then from our side, NTSA, we lower the smart driving licenses to about 1,000. So we would have reduced the costing from about 15,000 to about 3,000. That would be a position that even a border will find it easier to go and do the training, have a driving license, so that he can be able to carry passengers. So it's a wonderful idea, but if you have one training school, then it will be on one area. How about for the others who are coming from the villages? That's why we're focused on what we call TTIs. So that we can be able, most of them can be able to, because how do you even rate them? if they are not, if they're not, they don't have driving licenses.
Yeah.
You can't. So first of all, you have to give them weapons, and then tell them now you need to wear protective gears.
But in this case of the training school, is the focus just on PSVs or even us, normal Kenyans? Because as you said, human error, it can happen to any one of us.
It's a behavior.
Okay.
It's a behavior and attitude. Because, for example, if I'm driving and I know I'm drunk, why should I drive? But I think it's a behavior. I feel like it's my car. I want to drive. I care less. So you end up causing fatality to others who are sober. So these are the things that we should be dealing with to ensure that that's why we are coming up with alcohol.
Okay, let's take a break. We'll come back with this story of alcohol because Kenyans are not happy about it.
We know.
But we will talk about it shortly. Let's just take a break. Can you imagine it's